Strategic mobilization, an assurance audit firm says the collaboration between them and downstream petroleum unit of the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA Customs Division, is helping the GRA meet and exceed its annual target. This came to light when SML Ghana recently held the stakeholders engagement with leadership of the downstream petroleum unit at the Ghana Revenue Authority Customs Division in Tema, to discuss new initiative and solicit opinions on how both sides can improve the successes chalked up and further improve the country's revenue. Stakeholders engagement brought together the various customs heads in charge of downstream petroleum depot across the country's 16 regions. SML Ghana took the custom officers through latest technologies such as for scanning weigh bills and purchase orders and reconciling them with meter volumes at the depots in real time, and introduction of level sensors to monitor, manage and measure the petroleum stocks. Managing Director of SML Ghana, Christian Tete Soti, stated that the engagement is aimed at taking the officials through a detailed methodology of how SML Ghana is leveraging technology to improve the sector and remove any misconception while establishing the foundation of both sides as partners. He called for more training sessions for the downstream petroleum unit leadership and team so they can keep up with the new trends and information. The Third World Network Africa, a research and advocacy organization, is urging African leaders to develop strategies that will move the continent away from the challenges that confront it by leveraging on the African Continental Free Trade Area. The advocacy group explains that the lack of political will to execute the already discussed policies has delayed the continent from maximizing its full potential. Speaking on the sidelines of the African-wide consultative seminar on AFTA in Accra, the program manager of Third World Network Africa, Tete Homiku Ejay, urged policymakers to move away from the rhetorics and commit to implementation feasible strategies. He said for individual countries to benefit from AFTA, they must have policies in their countries which facilitate production and exports. No one can actually advance without these policies. He further added that the siting of the AFTA Secretariat in Ghana does not guarantee trade opportunities if governments fail to be innovative. Now, Maritime and Port News has gathered that the second consignment of 40,000 metric tons of fuel under the Gold for Oil policy arrived at the Tema port on Sunday. Under the new policy, the first consignment, which arrived, was also 40,000 tons. The Vice President, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, announced some time ago that government was going to go into a gold for oil arrangement to rationalize the import of petroleum products, including the foreign exchange ramification. Last week, the Managing Director of Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Limited, Edwin Provençal, revealed 4 separate gasoline cargoes will be delivered by the end of February. The shipment will total 155,000 tons of fuel, in addition to the first consignment of 40,000 tons under the deal. AP Moller Maersk, operator of the world's second largest container line, announced 4-quarter results in line with expectation on Wednesday, but its outlook for 2023 came in below consensus, with rates expected to be particularly weak in the second half of the year. Maersk sees spot rate now stabilizing. It expects contract rate to be negotiated for 2023 at level close to spot rate, bringing average rates down, particularly after the benefits from contracts negotiated in 2022 expire. Even though second half volumes could recover somewhat as retailer inventories normalize, rates will face pressure from higher shipping capacity as a wave of new vessels hit the water in H2 2023 and through to 2024. Maersk reported net income of $4.98 billion in the fourth quarter of 2022, a 44% plank from the record-setting third quarter and down 18% year-on-year. The company had previously forecasted adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization of $6.8 billion for the fourth quarter. Analysts polled by Bloomberg expected $6.4 billion. Actual adjusted EBITDA came in at $6.54 billion. In January, U.S. containerized import logged in highest month-on-month gain since last May, according to data from Descartes. It reported that inbound volumes rose 7.2% versus December of 2,680,493 20-foot equivalent units. That's good for the industry. The bad news is that last month imports were almost identical to Descartes' import stat for January 2019 and 2020 pre-pandemic. The worst news is that this month looks especially weak according to Port Trackers, which covers 12 U.S. ports and is published by the National Retail Federation and Hackett's Associates. 2020 Port Trackers just cut its projection for early 2023. On Tuesday, it reduced its outlook for January-May import by 3.5% versus estimate released a month ago. Ports Tracker now projects that the facilities it covers will handle 1.53 million TEUs in February, down 26% year-on-year. And finally, the Georgia Port Authority on Wednesday makes good and not so good news, touting a 21% year-on-year increase in export as it handled figure in the January volume report, and following that with the concession that total cargo throughput decreased 11.5%. The GPA said it handled 421,714 20-foot equivalent units in January. That's 55,000 fewer containers than in the first month of 2022. But it's noted that 2023 total was 11.7% more than the pre-pandemic volumes of 377,671 TEUs in January 2020. On this note, we wrap up this morning's edition of Maritime and Port News, proudly sponsored by the Ghana Shippers Authority. They provide you with the best in oil shipping solutions. Contact them at the Shippers